said about his poems, I have included a little bit of pornography to please the gentlemen of the press. So I think, in fact, maybe that's important to include some pornography to attract certain sort of viewership. It can attract me if it's interesting, approach. I thought Rome was pretty good, actually. I thought it was funny. The first season, the second season was dreadful. They got some other writers that are just awful. But the first one was really good in terms of showing you some Roman history. Anyway, Antony turns the tables. What's the year? When is Caesar assassinated? These are easy things. Not for you, but for me. And I'm 2 or 3 times your age, and I haven't forgotten yet. 44 BC. These are easy. 333 BC, 44 BC. See, these are easy. These are like pegs. Put these pegs in and you won't go wrong. And then Octavian is Caesar's nephew. That Rome thing had an interesting take on who Octavian was. That was very, very funny. But anyway, it's on HBO, the first season. It's worth seeing that first season. It sticks to the history pretty closely. In any case, Octavian and Antony fall out. Antony goes to Egypt, becomes besotted by Cleopatra. In steps Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton. Those were the big movies way back when, in your parents' day, in our day. Yeah, Elizabeth Taylor got pneumonia, almost couldn't finish it, almost died, but in the end she survived, and she's still hanging around. And Richard Burton wanted to go kick the bucket, poor guy. She married him twice,
44 karat king Richard died.
Well, 44 BC, you see, 44 karat count, oh, there we go.
That now.
Okay, we got it, we got a peg. Okay, the point is that he gets, the Battle of Actium is where Antony runs away and goes back to be with Cleopatra, and she sort of deceives him and he kills himself, and then she lets the snakes bite her and she kills herself and so on. But finally, Octavian becomes Augustus, and that's the real big Roman Empire. That's around 31 BC. It takes 12 years for that civil war to pan out, and Augustus gets in 31 or so, and he's just a young whippersnapper when he starts, but he gets pretty tough and big. And he's very adept politically, he conciliates the Senate and things like that. And he puts the Roman imperial family in place, the Julio Claudians, as we call them, as I mentioned the first day that we were together. The Julio Claudians that precede the Flavians, who come after, and there are 12 or so Julio Claudians, no, I don't know 12, but Suetonius, the great historian who likes to tell funny, dirty stories about these people, wrote a book called The 12 Caesars, and that's where we get the 12, but he includes the Flavians, and I think he even includes Trajan and Hadrian in there. So that's really, we'll give you all the Caesars. They all call themselves Caesar, then after Caesar. But the Battle of Actium was where the final installment was made. But what happened to Caesar's son by Cleopatra? He'd already been about 13, 14 years old by this point. Cleopatra tried to save him. She tried to make a deal with Octavian. He wasn't buying it. He fled. In the Rome thing, they have a big fight over him and so on and so forth. And they take him to Rome, but that's not what happened. They killed him and chucked him down a well someplace. Octavian wasn't going to let that son live. These people played for keeps. They didn't play games. They killed. He had Caesar's son by Cleopatra killed. And she tried to send him away, I think, over to the Red Sea, down the Red Sea, but the soldiers got him, and that was the end of forces Arian. And the beginning of Augustus's reign, which was a very successful reign, and the Julio Claudians reign up till, the reason we call them Claudians is because Augustus didn't have any children of his own. He had a daughter, but he fell out with her, and later she was executed or died in some strange way. But he didn't have any male heirs, and he adopted his new wife's children, who were crazy, insane family. They are the Claudians. That's Tiberius, Tiberius Caesar was the wife of Augustus's, the son of Augustus's wife. I think her name was Livia, Livia. You want another good series that deals with this? It's I, Claudius. One of the best television docudrama series ever made. It was made by the BBC in the 70s. Great television from Robert Graves' novel, I, Claudius, and it was really accurate. It shows Livia as a conniving, poisoning maniac to get her children there. Anyway, Tiberius is her child. And then another one is Claudius, who's Tiberius' nephew. He succeeds Tiberius. Then after Claudius is killed by one of his wives or someone like that, because she wants to get her son in, and her son is Nero. Before Claudius, by the way, is one other guy, Gaius Caligula, and he's totally insane. The soldiers killed him. And Nero, we know, is totally insane. And you know, Nero's mother killed her husband, Claudius, to get him into the succession. Then Nero had his mother killed because he got angry at her. Then he had a wife who Josephus met, who was obviously pregnant by somebody. I guess Nero thought she wasn't pregnant by him. He kicked her in the stomach and killed her right before the Jewish war against Rome in 66 AD. Killed her and her child. So Nero kicked his wife to death, and so on. This is why we think the Roman emperors are worth resisting. But you know, if you resist them, you might have to pay the ultimate price, which people in Palestine did pay. Okay, quickly, because I'm going to take a break here. So now we know those are the Ptolemies, named after a general in Alexander's army and a great friend of his there in Egypt. Now, Palestine is in the middle between the Ptolemies in Egypt and the Seleucids, as we call them, in Syria. The capital of the Seleucids in Syria is a place famous in Christianity and Paul's activity, Antioch. It's on the coast, but I don't think that's the real Antioch. There were 4 Antiochs. I'll tell you about that some other time. But in any case, the Seleucids are the Syrian area, and the Seleucids and the Ptolemies fight over Palestine. All the campaigns by the Seleucids to go down to Egypt come through Palestine, and these are the horns that are being talked about here. And these are the horns, the 10 horns that come out of the beasts. These are the 10 Seleucid kings. Before the 11th horn, and the 11th, while I was looking, line 8, I saw another horn sprouting among them, a little one. 3 of the original horns were pulled out by the roots to make way for it, and in this horn I saw the eyes like human horns and a mouth full of boasts. That's the 11th horn. Does Daniel like the 11th horn? He hates the 11th horn. The 11th horn is famous in Jewish tradition. The Maccabees book cover it. Antiochus Epiphanes, famous in the Hanukkah celebrations. Epiphanes. He is the king that the Hanukkah festival is struggling against and portrayed about. That is the 11th horn. That's the horn that Daniel hates. And that's what the Jewish Hanukkah festivities are all about, resisting the 11th horn. Pick up there 15 minutes after the break.